Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining me for another adventure in No Man's Sky, where we will be continuing our under construction base build. Let me just load in here. All right, so today we're going to be taking a look at some crew quarters for our realism build, essentially adding beds to our bases so that our fictional crew has somewhere to sleep. There's also another thing that I want to tackle, and I'm probably going to do that before we get to our actual crew quarters, and that is, well, you'll see. There was a little bit of an issue that I had between the last episode and this one that I'm going to try to fix, and maybe you can guess what it is when I show you. So we're just loading in now. It's going to take a little while here because I'm still on a PS4, but that's fine. I'm happy with my little PS4. It's served me well for so many years. Once I get around to upgrading, it'll just be all the more sweeter to have that extra uh, graphical capabilities, the upgraded graphics in No Man's Sky. I know I've seen a lot of streamers using it, and it just looks amazing. So, looking forward to that. Otherwise, yeah, it's going to be an interesting episode. Uh, Mostly about interior design. So again, trying to get that realism out of our base so that it looks like it's lived in and that there's a real crew that lives in the facility. So I'm going to jump to the other camera mode now, and yeah, there we go, jumping right in. So the first thing I actually noticed when I jumped in before was that my ship got an upgrade. So they did the expeditions release, and my one ship got a visual upgrade, and I think it looks pretty sweet. I'm pretty happy with it. Alright, so let's just get reacquainted with the facility here. I'm up on my landing platform. And in here we started to build out like a little waiting area and kitchen. And if I jump down here, oh, so we added in the construction terminal, but I don't know if I'm going to keep that here. I might want to put that somewhere else in the base, but I'll leave it there for now. We have our initial shipping containers, the one of which has been turned into sort of like a living habitat. And it's been fully decked out inside. Looks pretty good. Solar panel on the roof there, some battery in the back. But our big power plant is over here, which we built into kind of a foundation for the landing pad. You can see got a bunch of batteries, a bunch of solar panels, and then just these backup biofuel reactors. And that is just going to power our base for now. And over here, this is where our base got started. And this is where my problem got started. So you can see I have the habitat um, base computer, and it's pointing sort of away from us right now. So at one point last week, I teleported around, or I was on my freighter, and then when I teleported back down to the space, I was stuck inside of this frame. I had to remove it in order to get out. So that's not really going to be a big problem. I mean, we put our base computer down and then decided to build around it later, not realizing that it would get in the way. So we can solve that quite easily by adding in a portal, a base portal. So we're going to do that today. So I'm going back into this main structure of our base. And heading upstairs. So So I like to have the sort of like waiting room be the waiting room for both modes of transportation off the planet, either teleporter or ship. So we're actually going to use this wall here and put um, our sort of teleporter or base portal off to the side there. So I'm going to go outside. We want to make it small enough so it doesn't mess up this resource deposit, which eventually we'll get around to mining when we're not base building. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to grab a straight corridor and then go out. Oh, it's not tech. Small rooms, cuboid room, like that. And then grab a foundation. We'll use some different. We're using a lot of the cuboid room frame underneath the landing pad here, so I'm going to use this quad strut. There we go. Adds a little section to our base. And it's small. I mean, I could decorate it with more stuff, but I might just put the portal and leave it at that. So it is built into the structure, so it is getting power. And now, when I teleport to my base, I will come out of the teleporter rather than showing up at the base computer. Alright. So I'm going to jump down again. So here now, you have some walls, and I think what I'm actually going to do is build the two sleep pods or crew quarters off of these two walls here. And I'm going to use not a room, because these are meant to be crew quarters. They'd probably be pretty small on a base like this, with more of the space being devoted to science and utility. So I am going to use, where is it? This T-shaped corridor. I'm actually going to use a different color. I'm going to make it more orange. We've got orange in our base color, white and orange. So I'm going to use orange and blue. Rotate that around so that bottom of the T section is what's attached to the base. So you have an end here and an end here. I'm going to make a second one over here. There we go. I like the way that looks with the additional color. And you can see they kind of look like pods. And that's basically the look that we're going for. We don't want our crew quarters to be massive. And I could just put a lot of beds in one room. That's another way of doing it. But I thought these little pods are pretty cool, big enough. Oh, I'm going to have problems with that ladder, aren't I? I know I am. So now it's about making them look like they're actually rooms that people use to sleep in. They're kind of like the small, cramped quarters of a spaceship or space station. So now I'm going to head back out to decoration. And the big piece of furniture that needs to go in is the bed. So I just pass it. Probably could have just kept going in that direction, but there it is. All right. Again, rotation. Making sure I can get that in pretty straight and as far over as possible. That's really good. So yeah, I mean, now it looks like a little room for someone to sleep in. And now we just need to add in some more comforts. Not too many, because again, this is sort of like a utilitarian room. Before we do that, I'm actually going to add in a window. That flattens out that wall and just adds a little bit more. Oh, yeah, like I said, trouble with ladders. All right. So going back over to decoration and interior. I'm gonna try to throw in some other stuff here. So now, can I add this in? It might be too big and it would take up a lot of room. But I can actually scale it. Make it a little bit smaller. See if I can get that to fit. Might not. Oh, I had it there for a second. All right. So it's super cramped. It's very close to the edge of that bed, but it gives us a little counter space to play with. So, let's see what else we can throw in here. So a little drawer unit, almost as like a bedside table. Again, I might need to adjust the size a bit, although I seem to get a green there for a second. Yeah, it's too far forward. I will reduce the size. It's getting really small. Okay, there we go. That looks good. And you don't need much in these small spaces. You can get away with just a little bit. I'm going to actually go to lights and grab our favorite little table lamp. Make it a little bit smaller though. Put that here. And then I go back to interior and find some stuff to put on this desk. So there's this big sort of computer station. I find that it looks like it could be something that you would find on a desk. Even though we just placed the lamp, it does kind of have that sort of desk lamp vibe with the base and the little arms. It is a bit noisy, but I'm okay with that. Actually, maybe I'm not okay with that. I don't think I'd want to sleep in this room if it was making that noise. I wish you could turn those noises off. Alright, so let's take a look at some stuff we might be able to add to the wall. Might look off here because we have that sort of indent, but might be able to get it to work. Might even help if we made it orange. Yeah, it looks pretty good. And then just keep adding some pieces in, maybe 1 or 2 per side or per wall. So for instance, we'll go with a black ceiling fan. And just enlarge that. I'm using these pieces mostly as like visual interest, so that it's not just all one big flat area. And then throw some stuff down here. Whoa. To make it look like whoever's quarters these are, they've got some stuff on their shelves. I don't know about you, but I rarely have a super clean desk. So there'll probably be a couple things around. Where's that? There we go. An industrial barrel that I love turning into things. I don't know how good it'll look here because there's a lot of orange going on, so I might just not place this one. And it's just too much orange. What we can do is grab one of those blue boxes. Either one of these, which I can scale, or go over to tech and storage. We've got these crates. And we can change the color of them. So I can go in and make it like a blue or light blue. It looks almost white. I'll go with this guy. I don't think I changed it. Purple it is. And then maybe one more case. This one doesn't scale. Like here. Just put something on the ground again, just sort of for some visual clutter. And there we have it. One of our crew has a nice little sleeping area and personal area with some storage and some stuff. Doesn't take up a lot of room in our base and makes it look really realistic. And then we can add another one. This guy definitely is going to have a better view. Where here you're just sort of looking out at the bottom of the landing pad, but that's okay. Maybe they complain to each other about the setup, or they draw straws for who takes the room without the view. Alright, so we're going to start again with the bed. So we'll do interior. There's the bed. I can do different colors as well, and even different materials. So I can go for wood. Sort of this yellow color. Flip around, put the bed the other way. Just slowly nudging it into place. Alright. I could also have put that sort of drawer unit behind the bed, but we can save that for another time. So maybe this one. Looks like it's too close, but if I enlarge that, like so, let's get in here for a better look. I might be too close to the bed again. Ooh, that's kind of neat. If I go black, this is a tad smaller. Whoop. So that was a happy accident. This part up here, it's kind of in the way, but again, I can use maybe that ceiling fan to disguise that. Or another element. Trying to line things up here. That looks pretty good. So again, I'm just adding a few things on the sides, and to be honest, I should probably check to see if anything is clipping outside. That can happen. I've had a bed clip out of the side of one of these before. Yeah, so, well, that's too bad. Yeah, clipping from that box. It was just too darn large. Looks okay from this side, but it does not look good from the back, so I think I'm actually going to get rid of it. Ugh, I knew this ladder was going to be a problem. Maybe next week we'll do stairs. So I'll get rid of that. Maybe I'll just leave it like this. Let's see what else we can put in. We can put in a TV screen. No, not a carpet. I'll have to change the size of that because it's quite large. Or I can use one of these. something as a smaller bench. Or maybe it's a little bit more makeshift. They don't have a bench. They just have this crate. Maybe put that beside the bed. Like, oh, come on. So... and you can even put stuff on the bed, which looks like they just haphazardly threw it in there, which works. I'm just going through here trying to find something of interest. Chair, maybe? Maybe we can fit some stuff in this corner. Another one of those supply storage boxes. Looks like this guy's got a bunch of... no, it won't work. Or will it? No. Oh. There it will. So yeah, it looks like this guy's been told his bedroom is also the storage room. He's got a lot of boxes in there. Maybe that's the deal he came up with this guy. He gets the window, but he also has to take a bunch of storage. So I mean, there you can see that already looks pretty good. I don't even have to put anything in that one corner, because you're not really going to see it that much unless you go in there. And to be perfectly honest, when you're playing, there's probably not as much reason to go into that room. But I'm going to put, actually I'm going to put another one of these, again doubling up. And I think that might be it. Alright, so now we have two little crew quarters. And now I actually do want to use the ladder. If I use this ladder, we go upstairs. This is kind of like the little seating area and kitchen. We have our teleporter, base porter. So maybe what's missing here is a bit of a table. So if this is kind of like the crew lounge, this is where the crew comes to eat and to socialize. So maybe they need some kind of table. And if I can fit one in here without taking up too much room, maybe I can fit two. But if there is just the two sleeping pods, maybe there's only two members of our base. So if I make that close to the wall, and then add a couple of chairs. Don't want to put them back here. Yeah. And maybe one here. And maybe this one has turned to the sofas, like someone was sitting at the table. Oh. But, oh, again with the ladder. So I'm thinking about movement lines or movement paths that I would be taking when I'm actually playing the game. So this area over here is nice and decorative, and is meant to represent, you know, where the crew socialize. But to be honest, I'm probably going to be moving from the teleporter, maybe out to the launch pad, and then down the ladder. So I think having having a bit of clutter back there is okay. You know, making it a little bit more difficult to get around is okay. Because most of the time I won't be going there. So I might want to actually put the ladder on this opposite side so that when I come up, I'm facing that way. Or I can just move around. It's not that horrible. Alright, so now I just need some stuff on the wall here. You know, we have... I'll use one of these. And black. And then... put a couple of these in. So this is like the, I'm going to purposely not make those perfectly lined up. And then grabbing decals. I'm basically doing the same thing again where I'm making paintings. This one's going to be a little bit tricky. There. So maybe this is like a series of abstract geometric paintings. Oh, it bleeds over into the other one. But you know what? That's okay. So they have some paintings there. Here I can add one of those. Where is it? Yeah, industrial barrels again. Super shrink it. Because it will actually look like some kind of food container. I can also add an industrial pallet made small. Until that turns green. Unless it never turns green. Yeah, I guess I can't just put that on the table. Okay. And we have some stuff on the table. All right. Looking pretty good. Social area. Might make more sense to have the social area coming off of where the sleep chambers are, but maybe not. This way people are being social upstairs. You have some quiet in your sleeping pods, although when people come in the front door they'll have to be quiet and whisper. So we have a blank wall here. We can keep this as like a construction terminal, make this sort of the planning area. So maybe we can just add a little bit more furniture in here to make it look more lived in, more realistic. So I'm going to go back to that counter. Really like the workshop counter. So I can put that. Oh, this ladder is going to be the end of me. Alright, so a counter there. Maybe there's still a little bit of seating as well. Doesn't have to be all business. Now a sofa. Just looking for things that are low slung so that they fit underneath the window. That off to the side and give myself a little bit more room to add something else.
Weather update. Storm clearing.
Oh, that's not straight at all. That's not always a problem, but considering that it's right by the front door, I think it needs to be a little bit straighter. One way I like to check sometimes is how the piece of furniture actually clips with the wall. And if it clips relatively flat, then you know it's pretty straight. That works on these wide, flat objects quite well. We come in now. I think that's straight. It's pretty straight. All right. So again, just using some of these parts. To create some visual interest and to break up the flat parts of the room. I'm trying to use them in different ways. I wish that was right in the center. Whoa. Thought I had it centered, but it was an illusion. That might be centered. Oh, it's much better. Alright, keep that. Oh, that table is going to also go off constantly when I walk near it, even if I'm on a different level. So it's clipping here, but I don't have to worry about it too much with this piece because it has a much thicker sort of like area. It is clipping here with this piece of foam or whatever that is, but I don't know if we'll notice that too much. I think it's all right. But I do find that piece a little bulky. So maybe I do need to make it smaller again. Ugh, a little ladder. Maybe not black. Maybe a different color. Maybe some yellow in here. Whoops. Yeah, it looks better when it's not as big. So adding some shelving here. Come on, there we go. It's again not centered. I'm trying to use these lines as guides, but it can be an illusion if you are off to the side yourself. There, that looks pretty good. Just aligning those on the sides. Here we'll use just a table. So it's a little different from the workbench. Need a couple of chairs in here. There's no chairs to sit while you work, so I'll put one at the table. I think this one is still my favorite chair. It's pretty low profile. It doesn't really get in the way. I can even put one at this workstation. Apparently I can't rotate it though. And then we just need to fill it out with some details. So I got all the major pieces of furniture. And now I'm just adding stuff. Once again, visual clutter. So when you come in, it just looks busy. Now it looks much more like a workspace. I don't think I have space for these lockers now. Could put them, no. That's okay. I kind of like it the way it is. No lockers. Just need to put some boxes around. It's a big box. It's a very big box. Something more like that. I think I can scale this one. Oh, it really doesn't want to go there, eh? Doesn't like getting tucked into the corners. So what I'm doing here is I'm just already adding to some of the clutter that exists to sort of tie those two. So rather than just this sort of ending abruptly at this pile of foam or plating, adding a couple more boxes underneath so it flows over into this area. It just makes everything feel more connected. Again, using scale just to put stuff onto the desk. Where's that container guy? Love using this, maybe a different color. It's just like a series of boxes that are on the table. Or floating above the chair. Floating above the chair is definitely not what we wanted. Making it really tiny too. This could be like a computer terminal. That looks pretty good. Maybe it just needs a little bit more detail on the wall. And I could even use this guy. And even though I have that yellow one on the table right next to it, the scale makes it so that it doesn't really seem that awkward or samey. Maybe I'll put another lamp over here. That might look cool because it'll be seen from outside the window as well. Maybe. Is that against the wall? I can't even tell. Yep. All right. And then maybe that plant canister. And just looking around, seeing if they're, yeah, see that looks pretty good elsewhere, but then you get to here and it's a little empty. Maybe put another one of those blue boxes. Maybe a stack of them. And we can also go to adornments. These pieces aren't really scalable, so they're a little bit more difficult to use. I could have put that there, but it's kind of big. Lamp, maybe? Can't really see the top of it, but what does that look like? Oh, it is on. Hmm. Oh yeah, right, because we are attached to the inside of the building. Yeah. I was gonna make it try to look like a lamp that's in storage, but I don't think that'll work. So I'm just looking for a couple more things to put down to balance everything out. Hmm. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. So we have kind of like a work environment, a couple of crew quarters, and then we have sort of a table for eating and our social area up here. Oh, and ladder again. And we have our base portal. We haven't added anything that really requires power other than that base portal, but I think we are still doing A-OK for power. Now when I take a look at that base from out here, there's a lot of visual interest, especially with that orange room back there and that light. I think it looks really good. Feels like a real base. Now, if we want to add more to our base, we can actually have something coming out here, which would mean that some of that work that we just did would get destroyed. All this stuff here, so that we can make room for a hallway. But that's okay. If we want to expand out that way, I'll fix that after. That's usually why I don't I sort of plan for my expansions before I start doing interiors, but this is a little bit more of an experiment. So I think I'll do that next time. And honestly, what we could do then is if we moved, or if we added something, which we might do next time, here we could remove this entryway and have a new entrance, and then just move whatever we have over there to this spot here. Or I could just close this off and expand the base out from there. There's options. But I think that concludes today's under construction and build in No Man's Sky. We built our crew quarters and we built a base portal. Now, there's also something else about portals that I wanted to talk about before we left, and that is a change that I'm making to my schedule. So, the biggest news is that I'm adding a second under construction. So you can see we've got No Man's Sky moving to Fridays from Sunday mornings. And Sundays, we're going to start doing some base building stuff in Portal Nights. And I think Kid Codifier from 8-Year-Old Squad Leader is going to be joining me for some of those. So we're going to do a little bit of a tour of the stuff that I've been doing in Portal Nights, maybe building some stuff ourselves. I've got a lot of unfinished work in Portal Nights, so I'll start working on that. Portal Nights is a fun game. There's a lot of, it's more blocky than No Man's Sky. So it's a little bit more like Minecraft in that respect, but you can build some pretty cool stuff, and there are some neat, like roof tiles and bases. It's not all just cubes. But if you're interested, this is the schedule that I'm moving to next week. So I'll be building again in No Man's Sky on Friday night at 8, and then I will be building in Portal Nights on Sundays at 11. So it's not super early anymore. And I won't be waking up the household. So that's good news. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show. And I will see you next time in another under construction adventure.